the Gwembe Valley in southern Zambia. Poor marginal land suffering from 3 years continuous drought. Remote hilly country, wasted arid soil, the home of 90,000 Tonga people. The Tonga, or Batonka as they call themselves, are largely cut off from the outside world. For many of them, it's 70 kilometers down appalling roads to the nearest school or medical facility. Infant mortality is the highest in Zambia. Malnutrition, measles, gastroenteritis and bilharzia are widespread. For 3 years, Gwembe mothers have never been quite sure where the next meal was coming from. For 3 years, there's hardly been any rain. A pipe helps get you through the day and staves off the hunger pangs. But there's no disguising the harshness of life in the province. Yes, you can dream dreams, but the reality is malnutrition, crop failure, and chronic ill health. The Tonga have to supplement their diet on pickings from the bush, leaves, roots, and berries. The Tonga have lived in southern Africa for at least 400 years, settled mainly along the banks of the Zambezi River. But the creation of the Kariba Dam in 1957 flooded their homelands and they were quickly moved out. Some went to Zimbabwe, others were resettled in Zambia. 90,000 of them in the hard hills of Gwembe province along the northern shores of the dam. In 1983, the Gwembe branch of the Zambia Red Cross reported on the plight of the Tonga. Supplementary feeding was urgently needed, and an initial 750,000 Swiss franc appeal was launched through the League of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies in Geneva. In January 1984, maize began to be distributed through the Zambia Red Cross, with Henry Banda and 2 other supervisors managing 40 trained volunteers at 30 distribution points. 90 kilograms of whole white maize per family per month, carefully measured out in buckets. There's a strict system of control, with heads of families having to show their national identity card before they receive their quota.
This maize that we are bringing to this area is in response to the drought that has befallen the Gwembe district. And we hope that it's the people who are worst hit who are going to benefit and not those people who are well-to-do. And this maize at the same time is free. We are not going to charge you anything, and there are no conditions to the maize.
A regular visitor to the distribution points is Faith Mwila, General Secretary of the Zambia Red Cross, accompanied today by the Finnish Ambassador, Garth Castron.
How long have you been here doing this job? I think because at first I came and I was sick. I went to hospital. I was admitted, so I just came on Tuesday. On Tuesday, yes.
The Red Cross volunteers stay in the villages, with many Tonga coming in from the bush for the maize distribution. The volunteers live with the supplies, sleeping and eating where the maize is stored. This humble hut is where the action is at. The Finnish ambassador is assured that every single bag is accounted for by the volunteers. It's the end of the line for the foodstuff which have been funded by sister Red Cross societies. It's a major organizational task for Henry Banda and the Zambia Red Cross. Every distribution point is visited weekly, and the maize issued only under the supervision of a trained volunteer and a local headman.
Other people who want to boost their political images, to come and confuse you, say that you do this, do that, just because you're receiving maize. Get this maize and eat it with your families and use them very well. And make sure that the children are fed from this maize, instead of maybe you using this maize for something different.
Away from the villages, however, little or nothing grows. Even the tree leaves are dead. There's precious little fodder for the cattle. There's hardly any water for the people. The Tonga have to dig through the dried up river beds. With many wells dried up and a serious lack of spare parts for boreholes, even drought-resistant crops like bulrush millet are very, very poor. Without the Red Cross, bulrush millet would, for many Tonga, be the only cereal they eat. The millet is drought resistant, but after 3 years' lack of rain, it shows where it came from. Arid land, overgrazed by the Tonga's cattle, with the soil being eroded. A totally insufficient diet. Through the Red Cross, the Tonga's millet is supplemented by whole white maize. It comes from 3 depots run by Zambia's National Agricultural Marketing, or NAM Board, who have cooperated wholeheartedly with the Red Cross throughout the project. The relief operation brings together a wide range of willing partners. The Gwembe provincial governor in Red Cross t-shirt, who's been an enthusiastic supporter from the very beginning. Supervisors and trained volunteers from the National Society. Olavi Vetterstrand, the League's delegate from Finland, who provides assistance to the whole operation and who, through the League of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies in Geneva, is the linked man between the National Society in Zambia, who distribute the maize, and the sister societies who fund the operation. The whole project has been much helped by the Zambian government, the Food and Agriculture Organization, the World Food Programme, and the European Economic Community. Apart from the contributions of Red Cross societies, there have been donations by the governments of Britain, Canada, Switzerland, and the Federal German Republic. 1,700 tons of maize distributed in 6 months, and every sack accounted for thanks to the careful checking of the League and local Red Cross. For Vetterstrand, one of the main successes of the operation is how the Zambian Red Cross has grown in authority and importance as a direct result of running such a large scheme. It's been made possible through the international solidarity shown by the contributions through the Red Cross societies of Finland, Norway, Sweden, the Federal German Republic, Canada, Great Britain, Singapore, South Korea, and Switzerland. But in such an isolated province with such a poor infrastructure, it's not been easy, as the governor himself knows full well, for the Zambian Red Cross or for Olavi Vetterstrand.
Some of the problems, of course, is about the roads. For instance, to reach some distribution points, this is 40 kilometers away, took for us 3 hours, up to 4 hours to reach these places. And in one day we had about 8 punctures in the same car. And that, of course, causes problems and delays in reaching these distribution points.
But the Red Cross Land Cruisers and the trucks loaned by the government or hired from local contractors still manage to get through. The roads, though, are truly dreadful. On top of that, when the supervisors actually do arrive, there are still human problems to be resolved.
To decide on how many kilograms a family is going to get because of maybe queer conditions, we had to dictate in some of these things, like if somebody has 3 wives and he has 30 children, the question of how many kilograms do you give that person, that to us was a problem, because we couldn't make a distinction, and we thought some people might take advantage of that situation. So we simply made it uniform that whether one has 3 wives or 1 wife, 30 children or 2 children, they will get 30 kilograms per time. But this, of course, seems to be working well, although, of course, some people who have more than 1 wife are not happy.
But there's food enough just to go round. No Tonga is actually starving. Despite the terrible roads, the trucks still arrive at the distribution points. It's been an efficient, cost-effective operation. It has substantially strengthened the Zambia Red Cross. It's been a good example of Red Cross societies working together to help an isolated and malnourished people. But is feeding them enough? The League and Zambia Red Cross are now considering a wider development program which will help train mothers in nutrition, broaden the agricultural base, check soil erosion, and supply more clean water. For the Tonga people, the future looks a little brighter. For Supervisor Henry Banda, League Delegate Olavi Vetterstrand, General Secretary Faith Mwila, and for Ambassador Castron, it's been a job worth doing and done well.
We've seen 2 distribution points. I've been very impressed with the way the maize has arrived here, the goods are here, and also the way you have distributed to the people who need it. Everything runs very, very smoothly.
Hey!